Show with Flip's guest, Ray Stevens, George Carlin, and Flip's special guest, Lena Horne. Now, here's Flip.
Never judge a book by its cover. Well, let me make that a little clearer. In front of the Waldorf Astoria a couple of weeks ago, it was about 7:30 in the evening. A fellow walks out of the hotel. He's middle-aged, Asiatic guy. He has his hair in funny little curls. I don't know what they called them. Probably back where he was from, they had a name for it, but I didn't get that deeply involved in the story. And he had a sheet around him. He wore sandals, and he had a little staff. As he leaves the hotel, the red light on the corner there changes to red. Red light, that's why they call it that. So all the cars stop. This guy walks out into traffic over to a chauffeur-driven limousine, takes his staff, and he taps on the window there. Businessman sitting in the back there looks out and he sees this weird-looking guy looking in the car. At first he was a little reluctant, but then he rolls down the window and says, "What is it?" Guy says, "Could you tell me how to get to Madison Square Garden?" The businessman's pretty intrigued now because the guy looked weird, but yet he's acting so cool. So he says, "I'm headed that way. Hop in. I'll give you a ride." So the fellow says, "Thank you very much." He gets in. He sits there in the seat on the right, straightened his robe, straightened out his little hair there, and he has his staff standing there beside him. The businessman says, "Are you visiting here in town?" The fellow said, "I get in about 1 month a year." Said it's a combination of business and pleasure. So whenever I get in, I manage to find time to go over to New Jersey to visit my son, who's attending school there at Princeton. Businessman said, "Wow." I mean, he's really curious now. Says, "What's going on at Madison Square Garden?" The fellow said, "The circus." Said, "I'm associated with the circus." Said, "I've been associated with circus for 18 years now." Said, 4 months of the year I travel with the circus, and the rest of the time I spend between my home in California and the one back in my country. Said, "I do pretty well, too. Said, I make about $50,000 a year. Said, things are okay for me." Said, "I certainly can't complain." Businessman's very impressed now. He says, "Can I fix you a drink?" The fellow said, "Yes." Said, "I'll have a little scotch and water." So the businessman leans over to pull down the portable bar, to start fixing the drink. A voice in the back of his mind said, "You better watch out." So he said, "What'd you say, voice?" The voice said, "Don't sit there asking me stupid questions." He said, "You better watch out. You're in trouble." Just as he turned his head to look, out of the corner of his eye, he saw that this fella had raised the staff like a club. And just as the guy looked, the fella swung at him. But he missed because the guy ducked. The guy ducked. So the club missed his head, and it broke that glass partition between the chauffeur and the rear compartment, which obviously caused the chauffeur to lose control of the car, and it ran into the side of a bus. Then the businessman turned to this guy and said, "Are you crazy?" And the fellow said, "No, I'm the wild man from Borneo." Let me make this very clear. We're going to be pretty pressed for time on the show tonight because we got a lot of show. So we'll have to deviate a little from our regular pattern. So I won't have time to keep running out here after each act, introducing the next act, because I'm going to be busy in the back there. So what I like to do to make it more convenient for everyone is to suggest that you take a moment and get a pencil and paper and write down the rundown. That way I won't have to keep telling you what's coming on next. Okay, you got that? So we'll wait a second while everybody gets a pencil and paper. Got it? Want us to wait a second while you lick the end of the pencil? Okay. Now, my guests this evening are Ray Stevens, George Carlin, and my special guest is Miss Lena Horne. So y'all stick around. We'll be right back with George Carlin.
Hello again. I'm George Weil, musical director of the Flip Wilson Show. You notice I'm smiling because tonight I have the privilege of playing for one of the truly great artists of our time, the enchanting, the exquisite, the enthralling Miss Lena Horne. Tonight I don't have to apologize for presenting Flip Wilson, the nebbish nightingale.
Hold it now. Hold it. What kind of nightingale was that you just called me?
Nebbish nightingale.
Well, what is a nebbish?
Sing 3 notes and you'll find out.
It's not funny, George. And I also noticed that along with slipping in that little curve on the nebbish thing, that you did not inform the audience that Lena Horne and I were going to sing a Duke Ellington song together.
I thought maybe you'd forget.
Me forget singing with Lena Horne?
I was hoping you'd forget, because I don't want to play for you.
You gotta play for me, because the people want to hear me sing.
People don't want to hear you sing, and I don't want to play for you. We've just been going along with it as a joke, but you're getting ridiculous.
I don't have to be insulted on my own show by my accompanist and jive finger pointer. You got a lot of nerve, George. A lot of nerve.
Flip, let's face it. You are the comic sprite extraordinaire, and the singer lousy.
I don't care what you say. The people want to hear me sing. The people have something that you'll never be able to destroy. That is that both of us hate you. I'm going to ask the people, then you'll see. People don't like it when you knock the star. Find out what the people got to say about my singing. You're not going to be here next year. Hello there, people. See that? They like that already. Did you hear that big round of applause? Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Can I ask your name?
Liz Drake.
Hello, Liz Drake. Yeah, I like those boots, Liz. Nice outfit and everything. You're sharp. Liz, pardon the pun, could I ask an unbiased opinion? How do you feel about my singing? Is it good, bad, or worse than that?
Could be better.
Liz, you ain't even gonna give a soul brother a break. I don't know who let her in here. Hello there, friend. Pilgrim? Oh, well, the pilgrims are all nationalities, right? Where you from?
Hermosa Beach.
Hermosa Beach, yeah, that's a long way. How many miles is that?
Oh, about 30.
Yeah, that's a long way. Could I ask, what is your opinion of my singing? Just say it. I don't care what he thinks. Say it. And keep in mind that NBC is an equal opportunity employer.
Well, in that case, you're pretty darn good.
Thank you there, soul brother.
Flip, let's cut out the frivolity. I have to play for Lena Horne.
Frivolity? When I'm talking to the audience, these are the most important people in my life. Did you ever say that? Let me tell you something.
I really have
Just a minute, just a minute. Don't you go anywhere. You can't play for Lena Horne. You can't play for anybody but me. I have an exclusive contract. And it says that in the contract, which I just happen to have with me. Now, I'm going to quote the term. Don't look at it. I'll show you. Don't look at my contract. It says right here that I, the party of the first part, Flip Wilson, do hereby engage George Weil, that's you, the party of the second part, to bang on the keys, that's what it says, bang on the keys, exclusively for the aforementioned party of the first part for a period of 30 years or 10,000 notes, whichever comes first. Now, what do you got to say about that?
Let me see that.
That says that right there. That's official. What are you doing? You can't do that.
Ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
an official document.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lena Horne.
He's crazy. He can't do that. That's an official document.
Pay no attention, Miss Horne. Flip, please. Miss Horne is your
I care
guest.
what you say. Don't you say nothing to me.
Ready when you are, Miss Horne.
What, you can call me Lena.
Oh, no, I'm not worthy.
That's the first true thing you said all evening.
Pay no attention. Everything's fine. Just go ahead and announce the song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, George has selected a song,
Ridiculous.
a great song by Duke Ellington called I Let a Song Go Out of My Heart.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, the Duke Ellington song you told me to learn was Don't Get Around Much Anymore.
Flip, you misunderstood me. I said don't come around much anymore. Shall we?
Sing the song, Mama.
I let a song go out of my heart. It was the sweetest melody. I know I lost heaven 'cause she was the song.
Missed the Saturday dance. Hardly crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore.
Am I too late to make amends?
Not really.
You know that we were meant to be more than just friends.
You mean that? Honey, on
I
dates.
let a song go out of my
On
heart.
what?
Believe me, baby, well I say I won't know sweet music until you return someday.
You don't mean that, do you?
I won't know sweet music until you return someday.
Hi there, universe. It's Peter Plastic here, the boss jock with the boss sounds from the boss list of the boss 30 that my boss told me to play. Right here on the nifty 850. Power radio in the big town. Wonderful Wino Radio. Wonderful Wino, the big sound in the big town. Okay, all you bubblegummers out there in Wino land, let's get started for a marvelous Monday. Here on the Peter Plastic Get-Together, Wino time, bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour of 5 o'clock. Here's a group that everybody digs, one of the new super groups discovered in the basement by their super. Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Sacco, and Vanzetti. If I were a carpenter, you were a lady, and hit you with a hammer, would you think I was crazy? Okay, kids, there's a song that really tells a story. Wino time, bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour of 5 o'clock. Time now for a word from Phillips Department Store.
Phillips Department Store proudly announces last week's fire sale was such a big success, there'll be another fire sale next Thursday, right after the big fire Wednesday night. Here's a business bulletin. The unemployment rate went down last month, probably due to the fact that I just got this job. Now for a community affairs bulletin. There'll be a rock concert tonight at Garfield Park at 8 o'clock. For those of you planning to attend, bring your own rocks.
Solid gold to make you feel old. From the summer of 1962, before you were born. Remember, kids? Danny and the Dressmaker and some super gold Jenny. Okay, kids, what are the big sounds from out of the past? Why no time? Bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour of 5 o'clock. And right now, a couple of tunes on medical records coming your way in just a few moments. We'll be hearing Won't You Take My Heart by the Donors. And My Body is Rejecting Your Heart by the Recipient. But first, a word about the Hollywood scene from our critic at large, John Louis Obispo.
John Louis Obispo here. Last night, Andy Williams Bear was seen having dinner at the posh Beverly Hills restaurant, Le Bistro. As he handed him the check, the waiter said, "This is the first time I've ever seen a bear in here." To which the bear replied, "Yes, and at these prices, it'll be a long time before you'll see another." I have this community announcement. Cemetery plot for sale, cheap. Owner must sell on account of prolonged illness.
And now the big number 5 sound. Number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5. One of the big heavy groups around. Because as you know, we play the heavies and the near heavies, the would-be heavies, the relatively heavies, the quasi-heavies, and the pseudo-heavies. These guys are really heavy. They're so heavy, they're taking diet pills. Lots of them. Here they are, Archie and the Grand Funk Monkeys with the boss. The boss, number 2, number 2, number 2, number 2, number 2. That's right, it's moved 3 spots since I started introducing it. From their new album, Ferranti and Teicher, live at Woodstock. It's just knowing that your door is always open and your furniture is gone. Okay, there it is, most requested on the Wino Hitline, the newest Beatles release, which if you play it backwards at slow speed, you can hear a voice saying, "Dummy, you playing it backwards at slow speed." Wino time, bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour of 5 o'clock. Now let's take a minute right now for the Minute Police Report with your up-to-the-minute police reporter, Scoop Bailiff.
Paul Pinkley was jailed last night for assault and battery. It seems he came home and caught his daughter and her boyfriend on the ladder outside of his home. When asked if they were eloping, Pinkley replied, "No, they were coming back to live with us." Over to you, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Rush Hour. We'll kind of wind things up here and head for home. Wino time. Bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour of 5 o'clock now. Stay tuned for local basketball. Local basketball. Tonight, Andy Granatelli Vocational High meets the mighty purple of Owsley High. And immediately after the game, there'll be a combination riot dance. Yes, sir. Well, Wino Boss Jocks will be there, the 5 lively guys. To spin some of the big sounds from the Boss Wino 30. Like this one, to wrap things up for you kids. A Boss Jock pick to click here at Wino. Boss Hitbound. A great new group from Australia. 3 guys, a gal, and a kangaroo as they sing, "I got you out of my heart, but I can't get you out of my apartment." But first, a closing word.
This is Rush Hour Robinson here. Before the closing word, I'd like to inject that we just received a report from a scene of an accident on the Ralph Nader Freeway. It's the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. A grocery truck carrying milk and eggs has crashed into another grocery truck carrying flour and sugar. Cargo was spilled all over the highway. Because of the heavy rain and fire that took place, I'm standing here looking at a 2-story dumpling. As a final reminder in wrapping up the news tonight, we'd like to remind you that it takes 1,500 nuts to hold a car together, but it only takes 1 to spread it all over the highway. And in conclusion, friends, remember, if you want a helping hand, look down at the end of your arm. I'm coming. Van Dexter of Beverly Hills, television repairer to the stars. The maintenance manager speaking. Oh, hello, Mr. Van Dexter. This is Sonny, the janitor. You're not coming in today? Uh-huh. You got a cold. Sounds like a hangover. Mind my own business. Yes, sir. Cancel your appointment with Mr. Stevens. Okay, I'll make a note of that. Okay, goodbye. You take care of yourself, sir. Why cancel it? I know the Van Dexter approach. It's high class, exclusive, suave, That's right, I said suede. I could probably be Van Dexter, and that guy Stevens would never know the difference.
Boy, it's my lucky day. The TV repairman's coming after 8 weeks. Boy, am I excited. That's him.
Is this the Stevens residence?
Well, yes, you must be the TV repairman.
You mean master practitioner of electronic circuitry?
My apologies.
Accepted. Charmed, I'm sure.
Are you the Willard Van Dexter?
I am that thee of whom they speak.
Well, won't you come in?
Well, first, it depends on, how much did you pay for this place?
I paid $100,000 for this place.
I'll come in, but just for a moment.
Wait right there, James.
Good Oriental help is so hard to find.
What is that out there?
It's a Ferrari pickup truck. I had to change 2 tubes to pay for that.
Well, my television set's over here.
I know that. Be ridiculous. If I, Willard Van Dexter, did not know a television set when he saw one, then I, Willard Van Dexter, would be fixing an awful lot of automatic dishwashers. So you don't have to tell me that's a television set. I'm fully aware of the fact that there sits a television set. Do that again.
Well, you are going to fix it, aren't you?
Don't get pushy. We'll get around to that after I ask a few questions. Questions? That's right, of course. They'll be held in the strictest of confidence. Assuming that you're willing to pay the $7 strictest of confidence fee.
Oh, well, sure, anything.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
First, I want to know, how did you get in touch with me?
What do you mean?
What I said. I'm the only TV repairman in town with an unlisted number.
Oh, well, I heard about you from a friend.
Well, what's his name?
Well, I can't tell you. He's an unlisted friend.
I respect that. Now, how's your credit rating?
Well, I got plenty of money.
Mm-hmm. I'll keep that in mind when I'm making up the bill.
How do you charge?
Outrageously. Excuse me, that's my service. Van Dexter here.
Mrs. Weddington just called. Will you be available for a small dinner party on the 7th?
Well, tell her that I'm doing so well with the TV repair business that I won't be serving any more dinner parties.
Well, you must be a busy man.
Well, they don't call me the Dr. Schweitzer of television for nothing. I know what's happening with a TV. Don't touch me. Don't do that. Don't you ever touch me. You don't know me well enough to be touching me. You can't just go around grabbing an American citizen. Crazy? Now, about the set. What are these symptoms?
Well, for one thing, it doesn't work.
There's an awful lot of that going around. I got an uncle with the same problem.
Well, listen, I think this is serious, though.
Well, let me say first that generally I don't make house calls on Thursdays. I play polo, water polo. I didn't play this week because my horse drowned.
Well, don't think I don't appreciate it, sir.
Hey, a painting by Picasso.
Yeah, it's just a print.
I know that. I have the original at home. It was handed down to me by my grandfather. In fact, he was still on the ladder when the police got there. Now to check the set. The gizmo's okay. The thingamajig is normal. And no problem with the whatchamacallit. I wonder what it could be.
Well, have you considered the possibility that the UHF control is in proximity to the condenser and is possibly interfering with the condensers?
I'm going to put that on your bill.
I'm sorry. What are you going to do here?
Well, I know exactly what this needs. What's that? What's that? My statue. Get my statue. Hurry up. Statue. Hurry up with the statue. Screwdriver. Right. Pliers. I said the pliers, stupid. Don't hand me the hammer when I ask for the pliers. Hammer. Thank you. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's right. You are now the proud father of a 6-inch Sony. Ladies and gentlemen, George Carlin.
When I was a kid, growing up in New York City, grew up all the way, I noticed one thing. My friends and I noticed that all New York City policemen have the same voice. It's true. They talk like this. Come on, get out the corner, Johnny. Get out the corner. Called everybody Johnny, even your sister. Get out the corner, Johnny. And they had this trick question they would use. If they saw you hanging around the corner at night, they'd say, "You live around here?" If you said yes, they said, "Go on home." If you said no, they said, "Get out of the neighborhood." They had you either way. Well, it's no accident they talk that way. They picked the voice up from the instructors at the police academy. I'm going to turn around, and then I will be the instructor at the police academy. Okay, you guys, quiet down. Come on, quiet down. You want to stop blowing the whistles, please? And take the handcuffs off Ferguson, will you? I asked you to leave Ferguson alone. His father was a cop, and he's going to be a cop, too. Right, Fergie? Yes. So leave him alone. Hey, you've all been out walking the streets of New York for a week as probationary patrolmen. We started out with 600 bookies. We lost a few along the way. But you 14 men represent the cream of the crop. The creme de la creme. You've all passed the physical. Some of you have passed the mental. I think it's time now to review your progress by taking a look at your police record. I noticed the man with the most arrests last week was Patrolman Harris with 494 arrests, including his mother and father. Now, how did you manage that, Harris? You just arrested everyone you saw. That ain't it, Harris. That's wrong. No, I'm not under arrest. Get the gun away from Harris, will you? All right, speaking of guns, I got the scores from the pistol range. I'm not going to give you the individual scores, but I'll put it this way. If you were not wounded, and you did not wound anyone else, you qualify. The rest of you will have to go back to the firing range as soon as the range officer is released from the hospital. Next, I want to talk about giving out traffic tickets.
As you know, there is no such thing as a quota. Each man gives out 50 tickets a day, and that's it. Still, certain men tend to stand out. And, Harris? I see you're the champ on this, too. In case you guys didn't hear, Harris came up with a great gimmick for giving out traffic tickets. He found a real confusing intersection down the street from a funeral home, and he was knocking off whole funerals at a time. Now, at this point, you might think you're ready to become New York policemen. Wrong. You still need a week of Spanish. Community relations are very important. As we like to say on the force, hablo españolo de policiano, which means vote no on the Civilian Review Board. Now here's today's sentence in Spanish. No tengo hierba las telefónicas. Now, who knows what that means? I know you know what it means, Gonzalez. Right, it means I am busting you, senor. You're entitled to one phone call. And by the way, you guys, calling information is not considered a phone call. So don't be too strict on that. Right now, I want to say a few words about the recent police strike. Actually, it wasn't a strike. We called it a job action. That's because anyone who wasn't on the job was out looking for a little action. Some of you guys have been saying, how come since we enforced the law, how come we can go out on an illegal strike? The answer is, if we feel that it's an unjust law, we have a moral duty to break it in order to dramatize the problem. My kid taught me that. He's in jail. Disturbing the peace at a war rally. Okay, coming up soon is the St. Patrick's Day parade. Because coming up soon is St. Patrick's Day. This year they fall on the same day. Now, for those of you marching, we'll be using the standard left, right, left procedure. One leg after the other. If you're not marching, remember that some of the people celebrating St. Patrick's Day will have had a nip or two. The rest of them will be bombed out of their minds. Don't arrest them, just try to keep them moving if you can. Get them in the parade. Let them march it off. Finally, I want to tell you guys a story from the days when I was a rookie. It might help you rookies while you're out there on the rook. When I was a rookie, my partner and I, Patrolman Ryan, were called to the Museum of Art, where the evidence showed that a statute had been violated. Never mind, Ferguson. Anyways, my partner and I surveilled the area, surveilled it carefully until we apprehended the accusee coming out of an apartment house. We booked him on a 502. Now, who can tell me what's a 502? No, it's not the number of the apartment house, Harris. Get the gun away from Harris, would you please?
Brother is an acquaintance of long standing, which in this case remains to be seen. I'm Reverend Leroy of the Church of What's Happening Now, and I don't approve of what's happening now. So I'd like to see the lady of the house, so to speak. Wait here. Well, hurry up and tell her that Reverend Leroy is waiting. The devil made them do that.
See anything you like, Rev?
You can't blame me for taking one look.
Looks to me like you took several.
Well, I did take a couple.
I'm Vanetta Moore.
Well, I'm Reverend Leroy of the Church of What's Happening Now.
Want to see me?
Yes. It seems, sister, that a situation exists which could bring great ramifications throughout the community. Ramification is trouble, big trouble, big trouble. Of which, me being an outstanding citizen at large, I felt it was my duty to come down here and check the whole thing out. In addition to which, you look better than they said you did.
Well, thank you very much. Why don't we get a little more comfortable? Just come right over here and sit down.
Why don't we do that?
Would you like a drink?
I do not indulge, sister. During working hours, that is. You wouldn't by any chance have a red soda, though, would you? No, all out of red sodas.
To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Well, Sister Vanetta, I am very much aware of the facts of life. But I must say, it came as a distinct shock when I heard an establishment of this type was opening in our neighborhood.
Well, I have a license. There's nothing illegal, illicit, or immoral about my club.
Sister Vanetta, we are living in a day and an age when any young schoolboy can see advertised in the newspapers more provocative stimulation than was ever picked up on a street corner. But nevertheless...
You are kind of cute. You are definitely cute. You know that?
Sister, please don't stop me when I'm starting to cook. Now, as I was saying, you are opening an establishment that will offer wine to dull the senses and pulchitudinous young ladies to whip them to life again. Woo! Your Palace of Delight will most certainly attract some of the flashiest, swingin'est clientele from uptown, downtown, and above all, going to town. And without question, this is going to have an undesirable effect on the brothers and sisters of my congregation.
What kind of place do you think I'm running? First of all, my dancers are not topless. My dancers are not bottomless. They just dance. And as far as that's concerned, 2 of them were in a Hollywood movie that was rated G.
I'm very impressed.
You bet you're sweet.
Oh, watch it now, sister. Don't get upset.
Furthermore, there's nothing sinful or wicked about the female form.
Amen. I was just mumbling a silent prayer, and I just came to the end of it.
Don't you forget it. This is a high-class joint.
Sister, wine is a marker, and strong drink is raging, and you will be serving alcoholic beverages.
Well, of course we will, just like on the airplane. Except that when they get high in here, we don't give them no more. Now, have I answered all your questions?
Well, there is one thing. It would be a source of great inspiration to the members of my flock.
Let me help.
Thank you, sister. If you and a couple of your young ladies would attend Sunday services with us. In fact, it'd be a pleasure to see your lovely face down front, and I think I'll move the front row up some.
You know something, it's too bad you're a reverend.
Really? What did you have in mind?
Well, I could use a sweet talker like you right around here.
You don't say. Well, sister, there will be occasions when it'll be necessary for me to drop by to see that the decorum is properly observed. Amen for the decorum.
Well, you gotta excuse me now, Reverend. I got a lot of work to do.
I understand, sister. I understand. Always, always. I kind of knock out all the sisters the first time. And there's a lot of work to be done in both our jobs.
By the way, Reverend. By the way.
Yes?
Are you married?
No, Sister Vanetta. Sadly, no. Are you?
At the moment, no.
That's a good time not to be. The thought does occur, however, that as a matter of policy, strictly, you understand, it may not be such a bad idea for us to be seen together occasionally strolling along the avenue.
Policy?
Yes, yes. To show the members of the flock that you're a person who enjoys not only the spiritual pleasures as well as the other kind.
You may have a
point there, Reverend. Might be good for my business.
Yeah, well, I do have an unlimited expense account. Shall we say dinner tomorrow evening?
Why not? I'll be free. 7:30.
I like a woman with spirit. I'll be at the Time Out Cafe. In the booth, in the back, in the corner, in the dark.
At the Time Out Cafe.
In the booth, in the back, in the corner, in the dark.
I'd like to thank my wonderful guests, Mr. Ray Stevens, Mr. George Carlin, and my lovely special guest, Miss Lena Horne. Lena.